Hello and good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time in the world you're listening to me at this time. My name is Harkheindzel Omiyale, and you're welcome to another episode of I Mentor with Harkheindzel Omiyale. Over the past few weeks and months, a lot has been going on in the world when it comes to politics and its affairs and its effects and how the world is responding to it. In the previous episode, I talked about polity consciousness and why it's important and why it's a way everyone should begin to see things in its paradigm, in its perspectives, and its perspectives. However, today I would tend to go a little bit further. And before I start today's podcast, I remembered many years ago when I had a study group and we wanted to talk about things. And I remember then that the topic of what I talked about was what is good and what is right. And that topic just dawned on me right now. Why is that important? It is important because we need to realize what is happening in our generation and in our time. A lot of things have changed. A lot of things are changing. A lot of things will still change. It's inevitable, really. But one fundamental thing that has changed and affects the progression of where we go is the sense of meaning. A lot of things has changed from the very denominator of meaning. And that's not good. And that's not right. Why is that? The moment someone or a society or a group has the power over the meaning of things, one, it is the platform towards lawlessness and towards extreme liberty and towards anarchy. Why is that? The moment people do not agree on the meaning of certain fundamental things, then the world is about to break open. For example, when the world no longer agrees to the meaning of things like race, to the meaning of things like gender, to the meaning of things like freedom, then it is a gap through which destruction, doom, and desolation can ensue. And I'm really worried about that because the world is not really going to find it funny when all of the structures that have been founded upon generations before ours crumble. Why? Because the moment you can alter the meaning of things, you destroy everything there is, because you can render them useless. And that is one of the things I want to fight against, or for the want of a better word, I want to stand against. And that is why today I'll be sharing with you a few things you need to know when it comes to what is good and what is right. So I could title this, what is good and what is right. I'm just going to go in the basic. I'm not going to go so advanced into it because not everyone, is quite interested in it, or not everyone can understand the advanced synopsis and explanations thereof. I just want you to think along with me, and see if you can open your mind and we can just relate to this and see where we go, right? I want you to ponder about what does the word good mean and what does the word right mean. Oftentimes, a lot of people have fallen into the mistake of interchanging them. That good means right good means good, and things like that, because they use them interchangeably in certain words. And that's one of the issues we have. We have a generation that doesn't stick to meaning, because the urban culture is really, really changing a whole lot of things, and that's why it's really shaking the foundation of meanings that we have. And that's not what we're supposed to do as a people, as a nation, as a generation. This podcast is not just going to be one that sends you off and say, this is what you must believe. It challenges the way you think, and I just want you to think along with me. You don't have to agree with me, but think along with me, and let's think this through. Now, when you say that something is good, it could be a feeling. Or is it a feeling? Is it an action? Is it an effect? Is it a consequence? Now, when you say something is good, what does it really mean to you? How sure are you that you're still maintaining the core meaning and foundation of the word good? It's so funny now that even we can't trust the dictionary, because everyone's got an agenda and everyone's trying to use every media platform necessary to push their agenda. So, oftentimes I think the only way we can find serenity and verity is when we have to go to the past and see what people used to do, how people used to do things. In my own view, it is my opinion, which I believe holds fundamentally true, that when you say something is good, it's a more subjective sense to it. It has a more subjective sense to it. You feel good. When something is good, it's about how it affects you, how you see it. There is a part of self in it. Okay? It's difficult for you to say that something is good for another person without it making you feel good in some way or in some sense. Okay? So the fundamental thing you need to realize is when something is good, it has a more subjective feel or a more subjective sense to it. Okay? I believe we should all agree to that. So when something is good, it's more subjective. But when something is right, it's beyond being subjective. It's about how it affects not just you, but every other thing outside of you. So when something is right, it has a higher purpose. We talk about the values of a society, the meanings of a society, what brings the people together. That's what is right. It talks about values, morality, civility, basically everything beyond self. So it means that when you're viewing life from the moral compass, now the moral compass talks about what is good and what is bad, okay? Once you view life only through the moral compass, you're susceptible to deception. And one of the easiest ways to deceive someone who holds morality is emotion. Because emotion is one of the hackings of the mind. It doesn't allow people to think logically, it doesn't allow people to think straight, or better still, doesn't make them think well. Because emotion has its own kind of sentiment and it just derails us, and doesn't let us live the kind of life we should. So, if morality is all you have, it is good, because morality is good. But morality is a sense of self. It's about how you view, how you want to relate, how you want to see things, how you want to receive things. It's all about you. You should not kill, you should not lie, you should not do this, you shouldn't do that. It's about you maintaining your own personal sense of value. Okay? But the moment you start talking about things being right or wrong, it goes beyond just you and start talking about relationship with other people, relationship with other things. Oh, what you did was not right. That means that even though it may make you feel good about yourself, in relation to another person or another thing outside yourself, it isn't good. So it isn't right. So it is important for us to understand that when we're thinking about politics or managing people or relating with people or creating constitution, legality, and everything of that sort, it is important, grossly important, for us to see things from the point of right. It doesn't mean that we put good out of the picture. It just means that right, the sense of things being right or wrong, takes a higher eminence than the sense of things being good or bad. But we also need to learn how to balance these two things, because if all you think about is what is right and wrong without taking into account what is good or bad, then there's a very high chance that you're going towards tyranny or fascism, where you're just thinking about You're not thinking about people or how people feel. Now, feelings is a very important part of human life in society and civilization. We can't just throw that out of the bin or into the bin. Everything must be factored together. So, the reason for today's podcast is to try to see how you can elevate your paradigm and how you see things and relate to yourself and relate to every other person around you. And that is why the pinnacle should be thinking in terms of right and wrong. It is at this point that you will be able to win any form of argument that is thrown at you. Then thinking in terms of good and bad is about yourself and how these things affect you. So really it is when you're able to balance these twain things that life makes sense. And we can create a lasting system for the whole world as it is. Alright, so this is where I'm going to be ending today's ideas sharing session in this podcast. I'd really like to hear from you. If you do not agree with me, give me logical reasons why you don't. If you agree with me, I'd really love to hear from you. And if you're indifferent and sentimental, your opinions, and we can always learn from one another. One of the things I love about argument is we can always respect each other. We can always listen to one another, even though we don't necessarily agree with one another. Till I see you next time, live the best version of yourself and have a great day.